only help. My suggestion is to employ generically dressed floaters to rotate around and give your actors short breaks. Remember, there's nothing worse than patrons walking into an empty scene. It makes them feel cheated. If you would like to share your haunted attraction with thousands of professionals and households across America, send your letters, photos, and videos to Boneyard Productions, 364 South Quinsigamond Avenue in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, 01545. If appropriate, they will be featured on Volume 3 of the series, entitled The Ins and Outs of Haunting. Now, back to more malpractice with Dr. Dread.
Okay, kiddies, you heard the professor. If you wish to be considered for inclusion in next year's How to Run a Haunted House tape, send us what you have. We'll be glad to send you back your originals. But now, here are some terror tips. Alright, I hold in my hand a list of things that may or may not help you make your haunted house better. Certainly they're all worth considering, and anything that you use I think will be a plus for you. Here we go. Number 1 on the list. There's a guy out there that is running a 900 payphone service. In other words, when you're calling up for information and directions about his haunted house, it costs you money. I believe it's $1.95 a minute to make that call. And according to this gentleman, it is a very profitable thing. However, he's the only guy that I've heard of in the entire industry that's doing it. But still, he claims to make a pretty good buck doing it. So if your attraction is big enough here, if you are in an area that is affluent enough, you may want to consider doing something like that. As far as props and displays, it does get expensive buying new ones all the time. So needless to say, why not recycle what you have? You can either trade off with friends or people that are doing haunted attractions like you are, or just go to the lumber yard and rebuild what you have, making it look different, finishing it off different, repainting it, finishing it off with joint compound. There are a lot of different ways that you can use. Perhaps taking an art class would help you, but certainly recycling, refinishing, and reusing different scenes and different scenarios, reusing all your props is a great financial benefit to you. You want to keep the action as close to your patrons as possible. It's nice to have them walking through an area and seeing something going on here, there, and everywhere, but nothing takes the place of a good in-your-face scare, so you want to keep the action fast and furious and in their face at all times. Get in there with them as often as you can. And lastly, you want to complete your atmosphere. There's nothing worse than a dull-looking set. If you're doing a graveyard set, have a lot of fences and smoke and tombstones. If you're in a mausoleum, have nice brickwork and perhaps urns with flowers in them and nameplates on the mausoleum things themselves. All this helps to build authenticity, and authenticity makes for a great attraction. It helps to build on the illusion that you are trying to create. Now let's take a look at another montage that we've put together for you, and we think you'll see what we're talking about. Okay, that about wraps it up for me for this tape. I'm Dr. Dread from New Jersey, and I hope that whether you're an already established haunted Halloween attraction or just a front yard hobbyist, that something on this tape will help you make your attraction bigger and better. I know that many of you go to local trade shows or horror conventions, and we do too, so we look forward to meeting many of you in the year to come. If I don't see you, have a good Halloween. See you next year. Professor Nightmare, any further screams for thoughts?
Yes, of course. Here are some terror tidbits. If yawning is addictive, and so is laughter, hence the canned or cued laughter in all sitcoms, then why not screaming? Here's the best little investment you'd ever make. Buy a 60-second tape loop, you know, the ones commonly used for your answering machine, and tape your audience screaming. Playing this through your PA system will cause tension and your scream factor will double. Try it. Since my attraction is indoors, I have designed my maze to become progressively darker to compensate for the audience's eyes adjusting. Halfway through my maze, I expose them to bright light, so their eyes will have to readjust all over again. Remember, all's fair in fear and war. By adding a horror museum to your attraction, you can charge a separate or greater admission price. Displays are expensive, but you'd be surprised what accumulates over the years. Let's take a look at mine. I believe in giving my guests a goal. For instance, to survive and keep the tension on. This is very important. If you're letting your guests relax, make sure that this is just to throw them off guard until you hit them with a neck scare. Next on my list is security. You know, it doesn't take much to turn a happy, fun-filled event into a major problem. Spend the money. Play it safe. As the good doctor will tell you, we love authenticity, and so will your patrons. Remember, have your actor's body size fit his or her character. No one will be afraid of a 4-foot Frankenstein. Continuity and climacticism are vital to your show. Have your level of fright increase scene by scene. So with this, I leave you with a look at my monsters as I bid you unpleasant dreams.